All right. It's Tuesday night. That means it's Big Three podcast time. So, what's up, YouTube, Facebook? Hope you guys are doing well. And, we got the whole crew here this week. Last week we were
Welcome
missing
back,
Dylan,
Dylan. We missed you,
but
man.
I mean, you were
I'm
you were
back. I'm
you were
back.
in the comments, so it was
Yeah.
like you were
Yes,
still here.
yes, I'm back. I'll be back for hopefully all further podcasts. I shouldn't have any problem like I did the last week.
Okay. Hey, life happens sometimes. We understand. Um, but I mean, how's everybody doing? You guys good? Ready to talk
Yeah.
some good
Yeah,
old
doing good.
sports?
Just doing up some research before I came on, so I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right.
Yeah, I've been doing good, man. Just had school today. Like it's been like from Hurricane what's the new Hurricane Ian, I think?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
Yeah, Ian.
Like we haven't really got the worst of it like Florida has, but we got like a lot of the rain and wind. It's been like so I'm in Jersey, so like the parkways is backed up a lot, and this
Mhm.
today was just stressful, man. But this I need some like a Henny shot or something like that. But no, other than that, man, I'm happy to be on this podcast, man. I want to get home and my teacher from my last class of the day like let us out early, so I had to hit the parkway real early. So I got home in time for the show. So I'm all
right.
good, man.
All right.
I got my sweet tea ready, man. I'm ready.
All right. Loving the energy already. So, I mean, it's a great time of the year. We got football going, got NBA preseason, you got baseball playoffs about to start. So, there's a lot to talk about. I think we can start with the MLB because I haven't talked about it too much on here, but the playoff teams have basically been set. The matchups are pretty much set, so I guess we'll just go through and I guess get your thoughts on the bracket. I have the bracket pulled up if you don't have it, so I can tell you the matchups right now.
Yeah, I want to pull. When does the playoffs start? Like in
I
a
think
couple
it
days.
starts like
Yeah,
like
I know the
Friday
Blue Jays.
or-
I know the Blue Jays either play between the Mariners or the Rays on Friday is their first game.
yeah, I think Friday like 1 o'clock is the first postseason game. So right now, look at the American League. You'd have the Astros and the Yankees with the bye, and then you'd have uh, Guardians versus the Rays in the 3-6 matchup, and then the 4-5 matchup would be Blue Jays Mariners as of right now. The wild card teams can still move around, but we'll just go off of what it is right now. So I guess starting with the American League, what are your initial thoughts on that playoff picture? Like, do you think the Astros and the Yankees probably have a destiny to meet in the American League championship series, or could one of those wild card teams or opening round teams give them some trouble?
Who are the wild card teams again in the AL?
So you have, the Guardians win the
Guardians
Central, so they're a 3 seed. They have the Rays as a 6
Mhm.
seed, and then 4-5 you have the Blue Jays and the Mariners.
I mean, I feel like the Rays. I mean, obviously the Rays and Yankees series is always tough because they're in the same like they're in the same division, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a Yankee fan, I want to see the Guardians win. Because I feel like Guardians are more, I would say, easier opponent than the Rays because like Rose Arena like and Brett. I think Brett Phillips is off the team right. Their team is just stacked the blue of the Rays. So I mean, I'd rather see. I mean, I'm not saying the Yankees are going to struggle. I'm saying I'd rather see the Guardians and the Yankees when we play them. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like I think that the Yankees and Astros were meant to meet in the ALDS, and I think the Yankees. I mean, I believe we would have home field advantage. No. Houston would have it because they had
the Astros have it. Yep.
So that would be kind of tough, but I mean, the way Aaron Judge has been clicking and Stanton has now been, hitting bombers, and you got Torres and Severino just got pulled from the game. Almost had a no hitter yesterday. So he was pissed. He couldn't pitch anymore, but Boone kind of pulled him out. I think they had a base hit. You had a base hit and kind of like debauched the no hitter. But I mean, our pitching is clicking at the right time. Or Aaron Judge, Torres, Rizzo, LeMahieu is coming back. So It's gonna be a good series. But yeah, I want the Guardians to win that, even though they might not, because the Rays had the better squad.
Mhm.
But as a Yankee fan, I'd rather have Guardians play than the Rays.
I mean, at least with the Guardians, they haven't really been here that often, and the
Right.
Rays are battle tested. Like, you don't want to count them out in terms of a playoff series because they've been here so many times. And like I said, the familiarity between the Rays and the Yankees, that should give Yankees fans a little bit of a reason to worry about them. I know. Well, Dylan, you're a Blue Jays fan, right?
Correct. I'm a Blue Jays fan.
All right. So I guess how would you feel against the Mariners and then possibly the Astros in the next round?
So I would be a little. I'm more glad that we'd have to play the Mariners than probably we would have to face the Rays. If we're being honest, the Rays just kind of gave us a couple of tough games in our most recent series against them. And I always feel like you said, the Rays are battle tested. Like, they're proven, like, you don't go against those battle tested teams in the playoffs, because like, if you're with a team that's a little more newer, something where this playoff atmosphere is a little bit newer and everything for you, that's those teams that can beat you easily in the playoffs. So having a team like the Mariners, I'm a little glad with, and then having to play the Astros is just always scary. You never want to have to be the team that's going to have to potentially go up against the top team in the conference. I'd rather have to play the Yankees, especially since we got a couple games on them more recently, rather than having to play the Astros. But with that being said, I would feel confident that we could win this first round, but going into the second round against a team like the Astros would be a little bit scary.
Okay. All right. And then, so I guess quick question would be, between Astros and the Yankees, who's more likely to get upset?
I would say the Yankees.
Ooh. I don't know about that, man. I mean, the way Aaron Judge, I feel like, they're clicking at the same time, but I feel like, with Aaron Judge having a good year and Stanton now picking it up, they are the big giants. They're the towers. Like, they're called the Twin Towers for a reason, because they are, obviously they're big, they're strong. And Stan, I know he's been hurt all year. But I've seen he's had a couple bombs. I think the day Aaron Judge hit, I think his 60th home run, to walk off the game, Stan had a walk-off grand slam. That same night, Aaron Judge hit the 60th home run or 59th home run. I don't know. I wouldn't say the Yankees are. I think the Astros, because they obviously defeated the Yankees more times, and But I don't know. Maybe I'm just using my bias, but I feel like the way Aaron Judge is clicking, and we have Oswaldo Cabrera. He's nice, a young talent. I feel like we're gonna, this is our year to make it to the World Series, and just like that topic we had last show, who has the better to prove, LA Dodgers or Yankees? I think the Yankees had more pressure because they had 27 more titles to everyone else. So
okay. Well, just want to say, I guess, what's up, Spotlight Sports and Coach
Spotlight
Dante?
Sports.
What's up,
guys? Coach Dante, what's up, man? Thank you. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, appreciate the comments getting started already.
Who do you like, Kyle? Who do you think is gonna?
For me, being the Red Sox fan in the group, and I don't have a dog in the fight this year. Only because I know how dangerous the Astros can be. And for me, when we did talk about Dodgers versus the Yankees, I think the Yankees have a lot of pressure on them because, Judge has had a great season, but he's going to have to carry that into the...
Hey, Key.
Oh, what's up, Key? They're going to have to carry that into the postseason because, Judge breaking the American League record or anything doesn't mean anything if they don't back it up with a ring.
That's what I'm saying, so...
they have to at least make the World Series, I think. Because, once you get there, things can happen. You might not win it. But, from the Red Sox playing the Astros so many times in the postseason, I know how dangerous that team can be.
Yeah, that can, yeah.
I do think that the Blue Jays might give them a bigger test other than the Mariners, only because the Mariners are another team that hasn't been there in a while. So if they make it out of the first round, they may just be happy to get to the ALDS. and they might slip up a little bit.
Who was the Mariners that young star? He was in the home run derby.
Was Julio Rodriguez?
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez Jr.
Is he playing? Or is he hurt or something? Is he going to be playing the series? Because that's a big hole if he's missing. But I think he's healthy. I'm not sure though.
I feel like he's playing. I mean, it's going to be a great stage for him to kind of, showcase his stuff on a national scene, because playing out west, not a lot of East Coast, fans get to see the Mariners play a lot, unless they, of course, come into your stadium and play. But yeah, I would say I feel like the Yankees probably are on a bigger upset alert, only because, like I said, with all that pressure, Yankees fans are going to be expecting World Series this year.
I mean, if you think about it, like let's be real, like fellas, like I mean, I bring it to like the NBA. Like last year, the box office NBA Finals match was the Lakers and Nets going to the season, right?
Right.
MLB this year. I mean, the Astros and Dodgers, or Yankees and Dodgers. I mean, I guess both teams will be like the favorite, but everyone wants to the 2010 World Title team, Yankees and Dodgers. Like, I mean, yeah, they wanted, but I still had that grudge against the Astros for what they did.
Yeah.
Scandal kind of had that cloud over them, but I mean that's another factor though. Like Yankees they want to like prove it to them that like, hey, this whole scandal is out the way, no more cheating. Like it's real baseball, like what I'm saying. So there's a couple like scenarios like in the last series or when I think Aaron Judge hit a home run. He was like, there was a video of Jose Altuve like doing like the wire thing or whatever, or the tattoo, and Judge like mocked them. Like there's beef, like what I'm saying. So that's gonna be a good series if they make it to that point. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone wants to like the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series. Like I feel like that's the box office World Series right there. Like.
Well, I mean that a lot of history, because those are two storied franchises. So of course they would. I mean that's probably MLB's first pick. I mean they can't go wrong, because Braves have a chance at going back to back. That'd be a good story for them. Well, I guess we probably should. Wild, yeah, I guess we could talk about the National League, get them involved as well before we kind of talk about World Series matchups. So in the National League, you have the Dodgers as the 1 seed, Braves as the 2 seed, so they have their bye. And then the wild card matchups, you have the Cardinals, Phillies in the 3-6 matchup, and Mets, Padres in the 4-5. So I guess we'll start with Dylan. Initial thoughts on the National League.
Man, the Padres got definitely a tough matchup at that 4-5 matchup going against the Braves. Well, the Mets are only 2 games off from the Braves of being at that 2 spot themselves. It's going to be tough. I mean, this Padres team, after making that Juan Soto trade, kind of had a lot of like eyes on them, like, oh, you guys kind of need to win. And then the Tatis suspension happened, and it was kind of like, oh, you guys are like probably roughly the same again.
Yeah.
So like, man, this is just a tough season for the Padres, especially like after they made that big trade, after they kind of made it seem like, hey, we're here, we're going to be like one of these teams that are going to win it. Then the Tatis suspension, and then having to go up against it that has 10 more wins than them currently right now. It's going to be a lot tough for them. I feel like this Mets team, really good pitching. I feel like this is a Mets team that can go deep into the playoffs, but also like feel like the Braves, Dodgers, of course, are going to be favorites. Then you have other teams like the Cardinals and the Phillies. That matchup's going to be really good. I feel like that one's probably going to be like one of the most probably least watched of the matchups, because you don't have the Padres, the Mets, or anything like that. It'll probably be the least of the matchup, but I think it'll be really good as well. But of course, I feel like a lot of eyes are just going to be on like the favorites. Of course, like you're not going to really get a lot of eyes until the Dodgers and the Braves play. It's going to be mainly eyes on this Mets Padres matchup, and then waiting for the next round.
Well, I mean, having Pujols with the Cardinals does help that matchup a lot.
Oh, for sure. He had so much eyes on him getting his home run, so it's like there's going to be a lot of probably wanting to see him make a good push.
Yeah, I mean, that's another great story that MLB can really boost up Pujols' possible last season, making a run at it. It's pretty interesting.
Oh,
I guess we go Jordan because I think
Yeah.
Dylan might be a little frozen.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, like I said, the NL division is like the difference between the AL and the NL. The AL is kind of like the Yankees and Astros. The talk over between in the NL, it was like all the way up like in the middle of the season up to like September. It was like a half game, like with the Mets and the Braves, and the Mets had it like they had the number 2 seed or number 1 seed in the bag, because they lost to the Marlins. They kind of like I guess were too cocky, and like they're like, oh, like the Marlins they're a bad team, but like now they're the 3rd seed, so they're sitting in a wild card spot. So instead of having a bye and then a bye week and then playing five games, I think best of 3, or I think it's the best of 3 in the ALDS series.
No, ALDS is not best. I think it's best of 7 at the ALDS.
So what's the series that's like the 2 teams play? That's the like the Yankees and
so the Yankees and Astros would meet in the ALCS.
Oh, sorry.
The
So
ALDS is your like final 4 on each side.
Right. So ALCS is best of 5, right? So it's best of 5 or best of 7 still.
Best of 7 in the championship series.
Oh, but
I think division series is best of 7 as well.
I thought it was best of. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe the wild card is best of 3, and then I think. Hey, Dylan, do you know what the ALCS are they both game 7 series, or are they like best of 5?
I thought it went the wild card is best of 3, then it's best of 5, and then I thought it was just 7s after that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, I mean, so like the Mets went from playing possibly a best of 5 series for the first series to now playing best of 3 in the wild card. So I mean, that race is kind of like it's close. So they have Phillies and the Cardinals playing, and Padres and Mets. Padres are, they got Juan Soto. They got good pitching. They got Snell. They got to worry, and then Mets. They got Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor. It's gonna be a good series either way. And then possibly in the NLDS, they got says the wild card round, and then either Padres. Well, I'm looking at the ESPN thing. NLDS, Phillies, Cardinals. So yeah, it's gonna be a tight like playoff like. And plus, like, it's not even over. He's not even over yet. So there's a couple more games left to decide. The official NL side. To see who.
Yeah. I think a couple of the matchups could change, but like I said, we're just going based off of today.
Yeah, I see the Mets winning against the Padres, but who knows? Padres they're hot right now. So
yeah. And the crazy thing is, the Padres were like the it team for a couple of seasons. Then they finally make the playoffs, but Tatis isn't there.
Right.
So now it's going to be, Juan Soto having to carry those guys. All right. So I guess if you looked at the playoff picture right now, who would you pick as your World Series matchup right now?
I'm going to have to go Yankees Dodgers, man.
Okay. Dylan, who would you have?
Man, I'm going the Yankees. Like I said earlier, I agree with you when it comes to like they have the biggest margin for upset, but I would probably have to go Yankees Dodgers too.
That's his box office set.
Okay.
I would like to see the Braves repeat though. If I could see a dream matchup, I would like to see Blue Jays Braves.
Well, we understand you. Of course, you'd want to see the Blue Jays in.
They got some. They got Guerrero. They got.
Yeah, Bo Bichette's playing crazy. Like I read something that like past 30 games, he has 18 multiple hit games.
Yeah. They could definitely go on a run. That offense, once it gets going, the Blue Jays are pretty tough to stop. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Blue Jays make it. I'm not gonna, go Astros, Dodgers. That'd be too boring.
Yeah, because Dodgers probably smacked them, man. Dodgers, but Astros, but yeah, like That's gonna be a good series, like Yankees.
No.
Dodgers.
I'll go Braves, Yankees.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Braves with a chance to go back to back, which is tough.
Or it could be or it could be a Subway Series matchup, Yankees and Mets.
Nah, we've already seen that.
But hey, both teams, like, it's the first year that like both teams, like the Mets have always been a kind of that bad team, like post David Wright's era.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the Yankees have always had that upper hand. But it's like the first year where actually both teams are doing actually pretty well. So I mean, I'm surprised that not every game is given in the MLB. So
that's true.
And not every series, but no, like my lock pick versus pick of the Yankees Dodgers, but that surprised me if the Mets or Yankees meet on. That'd be pretty cool to watch again.
I mean, MLB would love to have Subway Series Part 2. I get it, but I don't need to see it again.
I know traffic's gonna be crazy either way if that happens.
Right. All right, so I guess we can go on to NBA right now.
Okay.
Because have you guys seen any preseason games yet, or anything?
I watched that Suns game that they lost to the 36ers. That was funny.
36.
Yeah, they're an Australian team.
How do you watch the game? Is it like NBA TV? Like where are they on? Like
NBA TV's had some.
Yeah, NBA TV's had some. There's sometimes streams happen. It just depends, really. You can find them.
Yeah, because I watched the Celtics Hornets on a stream. I mean, the Celtics blew out the Hornets by like 41. So, yeah, the Hornets are still kind of stuck in limbo where they've been for the past few years.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that the Celtics coming out with all that energy. So
yeah, LeBron had what was like 0 for 7, but this is a preseason. AD had a good game, like 11 points, 11 rebounds. Russell, was dishing out dimes. And I think Ham confirmed. I think in the press conference after the game that Russell is a Laker. He's gonna stay a Laker. He said that he doesn't listen to the reports. And
I mean, he has to say that at this point. I don't see how you're gonna put a deal together for Westbrook now. And if you could, where would you send him?
No, but I think
exactly
the way Ham is talking though. Like, I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but like the way he speaks is saying like he really like believes in Russell Westbrook and his capabilities. Like maybe Vogel wasn't really using him to his capabilities. I mean, listen. I know like Giannis was like because I saw Giannis when he was like a rookie, like he was skinny, like and like Darvin Ham at the time was the assistant coach, and like look at how he's transformed. Like Giannis, like helped him out. So maybe he can kind of like he has a plan of using Westbrook to his best, maybe off ball more corner specialist, drive in, open up shots, spread the floor. So I mean, we'll see. I know the preseason is kind of like a preview of what the season is, but I mean, Darvin is like a defensive minded kind of like offensive coach, and I like his like the way he handles his press conference. I feel like, but I think he honestly sincerely like believes that like he has faith in like Russell, and like maybe he has to say that because like to shun the media away, but I feel like he sincerely believes that Russell can like be that player that people want him to be. Like obviously he ain't gonna be the OKC player that we used to be, but I mean even him said when he drives to the paint he has to be aggressive and stuff like, and like he can still get to the rim. But I mean, I really do feel like he has faith in him this year, and we'll see.
I mean, I thought when Ham came out and said he wanted Westbrook to be a corner 3 specialist, I thought he was wild for saying that. But if it happens, cool. I still say that if you could convince Westbrook to come off the bench, he'd probably be better off, because I think Westbrook needs to be on the floor when LeBron's not on the floor, because then that way that Westbrook's the guy. He's the one who can get to the rim and all that. But if they're going to continue to have them on the court together, then yeah, Westbrook's going to have to become a, I guess, corner guy, or at least a guy who plays on the wing where you can swing it to him and he can make like a quick move to the basket or something. I mean, that's Darvin Ham's task this season, to try to make it all work.
Yeah, we got some like under the radar like talent. Like we signed like Lonnie Walker, we signed Trent Jones, really good shooter. we signed Beverly, which is a kind of that defensive dog. That give that Draymond Green mentality, that dog, that a lot of fire under the team. We took Austin Reeves. We got some Damian Jones, even though these are some that for a center. But if AD, it's all about the AD. LeBron can stay healthy, or more than AD can stay healthy, because we know how LeBron treats his body. But it's all about how AD can stay healthy. He can lock down that 5 role. And he looked like he played good. He shot a couple threes last game, had some turnaround jumpers,
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about him. I think Ham wants to run the offense through AD because it starts with that center position. Because if AD can lock down the paint and he can stretch the floor out, then that gives space for others like LeBron and Russell to go to town on the inside and stuff. So, Darvin Ham, I feel like he can get it together with them, but it's gonna take time to gel the chemistry early on. But we'll see.
Okay. It's interesting you said that about your Lakers because I have the ESPN list with their projected win totals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna spoil it for you right now. You might not like where they have your Lakers. But just looking at the West Conference real quick. So they have the Suns as the 1 seed, 49 wins.
They got blown out by a freaking no-name team, but all right.
I mean,
No, but I guess they're going off of last season. Okay.
Yeah. They have the Nuggets as a 2 seed with 48 wins.
Okay.
They have the Pelicans as a 3 seed.
Oh wow.
47.5 wins.
Damn.
They got the Grizzlies as the 4 seed with 46 wins. The Timberwolves, 5 seed, 45.5. The Clippers as a 6 seed, 43.5. They got the Mavericks as a 7 seed, 43. This one, I couldn't believe this. They have the Warriors as the 8 seed, 42 wins. Yeah.
What?
They have the Lakers as the 9 seed, 37 wins.
See, now that's shocking me for the Warriors. That was like, what?
Yeah. The Trailblazers, 10, 37 wins about. The Kings, 11, 36.5. The Jazz all the way to 12, 35 wins. And then, Spurs, Thunder, Rockets rounded out. So, initial thoughts on the Western Conference there.
Their list is kind of because the Warriors should be up there, because they're the defending champions. I'm surprised, with that. Lakers, they're at the 9, right below the Warriors.
Yeah.
It just all depends on how LeBron and AD, if they can stay healthy, because they are the Pistons to the Lakers. They are what the team runs, and I don't know. They're the reason why they're called just projections. And not official, But no, I agree with the bottom tier, the Jazz and where they said the Mavericks were with Luka, where they say they
number
were?
7.
7.
Oh, so they're right before the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's that list is kind of, I don't know about that. The Suns. Yeah. What about Milwaukee? Oh, sorry, that's the Western.
Yeah, we'll do the East in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, you got any thoughts on the Western Conference?
Yeah, I was a little surprised the Pelicans were at 3. I get Zion Williamson coming back and everything like that, but it was a little shocking seeing them as high as 3.
Dylan, can you hear him, Jordan?
I can hear him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. What I was just saying,
you can hear him?
The Pelicans.
No, I can't hear him.
I don't think Kyle can hear you. But I can't though. I don't.
Okay, that's wild. I guess.
Can you hear me though? Can you hear me, Kyle? Or
yeah, I can hear you. That's why I was I couldn't hear Dylan. That's why I thought it was kind of weird.
What about now?
Hold on, let me try something real quick.
We good?
All right, there we go.
Hey, whatever works. But like I was saying, I was the Pelicans being up at the 3 seed was a little bit high for me. I get Zion Williamson coming back, but that's a team that's run with Zion Williamson, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas. They don't really have a true point guard. I'm pretty sure that's where CJ McCollum's probably going to be running this year, and then I'm not sure who's going to be running the 2 off the bench for him. I wouldn't imagine to be Alvarado or anybody like that. I'm trying to think who'd be running the 2 off the bench for him. Probably Murphy. You think Trent Murphy might?
Yeah,
defense.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I like the Timberwolves being as high as they are. I kind of believe in this Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert backcourt. I like Anthony Edwards. I'm a big D'Angelo Russell fan. I like Jared Vanderbilt. I feel like this is going to be a good, interesting team. Oh wait, no, Vanderbilt was a part of that trade, wasn't he?
Yeah, they sent him
Okay.
out.
Yep. So I was about to say, but still, even having Russell and Edwards as your backcourt, and then having Gobert and Towns to your front court, that's very scary. That's going to be very good defensively. They're going to know how to space the floor well. They're going to have someone true in the center. Karl Anthony Towns is going to be able to space out a little bit more and work more as a center. I feel like this is a team that could shock a lot of people. I feel like they're going to be a really dominant regular season team, probably get a seed around 4 or 5, maybe even the 3 seed, and shock a lot of people. I really like this Timberwolves team this offseason and this upcoming season as well too.
Let's see. So I mean, we already talked about some of the surprises. Warriors 8, Lakers 9. What do you think about the Clippers at 6? Because they're an interesting team. They're getting Kawhi back. We'll have to see what he looks like. Paul George, who came back late last season. If those two can stay healthy all season, I know Kawhi, that's probably a bigger question mark because, I mean, he has like knee injuries as a part of his history, and I think there's even concerns about that when he came out of college. But that's a team that I'm pretty sure a lot of people might be looking at as possible title contenders this year. But what do you guys think about the Clippers necessarily?
Just like you said, like Kawhi, I mean, he's still a good player. It's just like he's injury prone. It's like same as the Lakers. Like, depending on if Kawhi can stay healthy, and John Wall, like, love the man, love the player. But he's not the same as because he had the injury. So we'll see how he gels. Like you said, Paul George came back. It's all about, health at this point. Like, but I believe Tyronn Lue can like pull them together and stuff. It's all a matter about if Kawhi can get back in the rhythm. And Paul George and their point guard or John Wall, but did they have Reggie Jackson? So still got him. So it's all about health, too. Obviously Paul George and PG-13 and Kawhi, they're the Pistons of the team. Like that's what they run that offense and defense. It's all depends on if they can stay on the court together for so many games.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree with that statement. I mean, the Clippers kind of have this cloud surrounding around them, basically, as a team that can't make the finals. It's a team that can't make it, and they get Paul George and they get Kawhi Leonard, and you kind of think oh, maybe this Clippers team's going to be good, and then there's injuries, they're missing the playoffs, this is happening, and there's this still image that we get of the Clippers of not being able to make it is still there. I mean, this team is looking for Kawhi Leonard to come back from having basically a whole year off and recovering. They're looking for Paul George to come back and make all this, make just this work, basically. They spent a lot of time and effort into building around this team and building around these 2 stars, the amount of money they put into them, the amount of assets they gave up. So this is probably a team and a fan base that's looking for a win. I think it's a little surprising that they're 6. Definitely ahead of the Warriors is a little bit surprising and different things like that, especially since this team hasn't had Kawhi Leonard for a year, is having Paul George come back off of an injury. It's just a little bit interesting that they would have the Clippers ranked that high above them, especially since the whole roster hasn't basically ever played together yet, like on an NBA court. So I just find it a little bit interesting that it's that high. But I mean, if this team can stay healthy, they should be good. I mean, obviously Kawhi Leonard's one of those teams that you just threw him on the Raptors for a year and he won a championship. So I feel like if this team can get on the right pace and just on the right page, this team could be really good. It's just they have to stay healthy. Just health is always a big thing with these good teams. It's you see so many what if great super teams, and what's the main reason that they didn't work? Mainly it's because it's health. So hopefully that they can stay healthy. I hope everybody gets to stay healthy and we can just have a good competitive season. But that's going to be the big issue for the Clippers this season is health.
Exactly. And I mean, the league is doing what they can with that. They've significantly reduced, back-to-backs, 3 games in 4 nights and all that kind of stuff. So maybe players will be able to better, I guess, manage their bodies throughout the season. That way you can have a playoff where, not worried about, oh, this team's missing this star player and that star player. But definitely looks like, based off ESPN's projections, they're really selling high on youth because the Nuggets at 2, you're getting Jamal Murray back. You still have Jokic there, Michael Porter.
Michael Porter Jr., yeah.
You got the Pelicans with Ingram, Zion.
You got Bones Highland.
Yeah. So,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we've seen the pictures, but Zion's looking pretty good, man. Like, I mean, obviously he's looking big, but like compared to the pictures like from last year and this year, he looks shredded, man. So, I mean, he's a former Duke Blue Devil. So I I like just like football. Like I always, praise like the Alabama Cube, like Tua and like Matt Jones and all of them, and then the same basketball, like all the Duke, Brandon Ingram, Zion, So, like he's looking good, but yeah, I'm surprised that like they put him that high. I get it, the hype, but McCollum and Brandon Ingram and Zion all together, but like Dylan said with the Clippers, like they haven't really played on the court together for a whole season, so I'm surprised maybe the list, whoever created the list, whatever, just assume that everyone's gonna be healthy. Like Kawhi, they assume Clippers gonna be. They assume that the Clippers are gonna be healthy going into the season, and I don't think they factored into like the health of this list. Like what I'm saying. So these teams that they're on I'm very, very shocked that the Warriors are like that low on the list. Like I thought they're gonna be like number 1, and then Suns number 2, and then.
I will say that they have the Warriors down. Yeah, I just saw that from Brett. Zion a phenomenal year offensively. Same the rest of the offense.
I agree.
Defense is where I'm concerned with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also saying because the Pelicans had a good run last season, so ESPN's probably looking at it as if you implement Zion into that group, they could do some things in the West.
Oh, I agree. I think we got to look at it. When Zion was healthy and playing, he averaged how many points? Like 22, 24, something like that. And a lot of those points were in the paint. Now this team has CJ McCollum, so they don't need to look for him to be as much of a shooting threat. Brandon Ingram is still coming into his own. Like this is a team that was smart and alleviated some of the stuff that Zion struggled a little bit with, like shooting, and just kind of built around him. And now they're thinking like plugging him in there. Like, yeah, all he has to do is just rim run again and play defense. Like, okay, like this team will be a lot better still.
Yeah. And I think like we kind of talked about, I think in the West, especially where, Phoenix, their season really starts until the postseason. So they may not go, full speed all season. But teams like Memphis, Minnesota, New Orleans, they may go to some of these big name teams like Phoenix, shock them a couple of games on their home court because, they have so much youth and they're really trying to establish themselves and establish the culture with these teams as winners. Whereas, like I said, Phoenix has kind of been there, done that. They're just trying to make it to the postseason at this point. And even with Golden State, the little markup on them said that the projections had the Warriors with 37 wins last year, and we saw how that went. So that is what it is. But I guess we can go with it to the East right now. So looking at the East, they have the Celtics 1 with 54 wins. They have the Bucks at 2, 49.5. They've got the Sixers 3, 48 wins. They actually have the Raptors as the 4 seed, 47.5. They have the Hawks 5, 46 wins. They have the Heat 6 at 45.9. So basically 46.
Yeah.
They got Brooklyn 7, 45.5. The Cavs 8, 43 wins. They have the Knicks 9, 41.5. Then the Hornets at 41 wins, 10th, and then rounding out Wizards, Bulls, Pacers, Magic, and they have the Pistons as the worst team in the East again. So initial thoughts, I guess start with Dylan on this one.
All I can say is just this is going to be a good season. Like we have a lot of competitive teams, like just in both conferences. Because when you go up and down these rankings, you could like be like, I could see this team actually being here. I could see this team actually being there. Like we said, like, man, the Nets that low, that's a little bit crazy and stuff like that. Just like all these teams like that just have so much talent. You look at it and you could be like, man, there could probably be 5 teams that are better than them on paper. It's just yeah, wow. Like we're getting to a point in this league that we're really talented. Like I'm glad we're getting expansion teams. So like kind of be spread out a little bit more.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, this is just gonna be these are gonna be just really good matchups. I'm excited for just playoff basketball and everything like that. Like, man, there's a lot of people who would argue that the Cavs are a better team than the Hawks, and then look, they're 5-8. So like that's just like how competitive it's going to be. I feel like these regular season matchups are going to be a lot, and I'm glad that they implemented this playoff tournament. A lot of people were like a little bit sketch on it, but now that we're getting to a point where a lot of these teams are more competitive and stuff like that, like a lot of these 8, 9, 10 like spots in the rankings and the standings are going to be like 1, 2, half a game off. So it's going to be like really important that we have these type of playoff games. I'm excited. It's going to be really good. Like it's going to be good basketball this year. I hope at least. Like I said, hopefully no one gets injured and nothing crazy happens and we get a good season of basketball because I'm excited. Like it's going to be really competitive. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think like 4 through like 8 or 9 in the East could be like an incredible like jostling a position to watch because there's so many teams that you may not put them, upper echelon in the East, but you could slot them anywhere 4 through 9, and people would be like, "Yeah, I could see that happening. Why not?" But yeah, Jordan, what do you think about the East with the ESPN projections?
So I mean, I see other than like the Miami being that low. I mean, I know they kind of lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I mean, with Butler looking good in the off season and Kyle Lowry and they got that young core. I'm surprised that they're that low this season. I would say maybe around like the 4 or 5. I'm surprised. Brooklyn. I mean, even though they have their issues, I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I thought they were gonna be like in the 1 and 2, 3 range because of how if Ben Simmons plays. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have like that much issues with it. I'm surprised that actually Milwaukee wasn't over the Celtics because the whole like situation with the Celtics right now, like how that could be like a distraction. But I was looking at the NBA the coaches like the NBA GM survey.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Milwaukee at 43% getting to the NBA Finals. Golden State right behind them, Clippers right behind them at 3, and Nets or Celtics at the 4. So, I mean, that's crazy to think about the Golden State's on number 1 on that list. But there's a whole thing the NBA did the surveys, like they did the MVP, they did like best offseason moves. But yeah, with the Eastern Conference, like just a couple of teams that I'm surprised, like down, like lower part of the totem pole, like. But other than that, I mean, the East is getting more competitive. I'm surprised the Cleveland Cavaliers are not like where are they at? The Cavaliers.
Cleveland was 8th. 8th, yeah.
8th. I mean, I guess we haven't seen what they can do. I mean, on the court yet, but I mean, they might move up there with like Mitchell up there and Garland, and Love and Mobley. So. Yeah, I mean, the Eastern Conference is going to be exciting, man, to watch.
Yeah, I mean, even with Cleveland, I'm kind of surprised that Kevin Love has survived all of this and is still there. I assumed a couple of years ago when it seemed like they were kind of tearing it down a little bit that they were going to move on from Love, but they've kind of used him as like a veteran presence while they basically hit the reset button, brought in a bunch of young players. And it seems to be working because they were one of those exciting teams at the end of last season. And I think there's going to be a lot of hype behind them this year because, yeah, you're bringing in Mitchell. I mean, we know Mitchell. I mean, I guess question to you. Do you think Mitchell is a guy that, adding him to Cleveland you should put them in the title conversation?
I want.
That's tough. I mean,
yeah.
it's tough to put any of those teams in the title conversation, because if you think adding Mitchell, just like, because you can ask the same question about the Hawks, does adding DeJounte Murray make the Hawks a title contender? Like, it's like these mid-level teams. It's like they all added like fairly good, fairly like important pieces, but is it enough to beat a Milwaukee? Is it enough to beat a Boston? Like, I'm not sure if a team of Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, John Collins, Capella is still enough to beat Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Like, I'm just not sure about that. But it's going to be an interesting matchup if we see it. Like, if it's close, like, it wouldn't shock anybody. If the Hawks went on to win, like, I think it would shock some people, but it'd be like, well, they built a team that they believed in. They built a team that they thought could go win a championship. So, I mean, it's just tough. It's just tough with any of these teams, because then you have to think about it at the Celtics point of view. It's like, did the Celtics really do enough to maybe beat some of these up and coming teams? Did the Nets do enough? Did the Bucks do enough? So it's gonna be interesting. I feel like they could. I mean, Donovan Mitchell has proven to be a big guy in the playoffs. I mean, we saw what he did in the bubble. Like, he went on a tear. Like, Donovan Mitchell's been like a player to show, like, go off, and then you pair him with Darius Garland. You pair him with Evan Mobley. You pair him with Jared Allen. You pair him with Lauri Markkanen off the bench. Like, this is going to be a really good team. Like, you just have to make sure that they can all play well together. Like, which is the big key quote, like the key thing, coaching. Like, is this coach going to be able to do good enough to make sure that they'll be good and playoff ready? Because they folded in the play-in tournament last year. I mean, weren't they the 8th seed and lost 2 games in a row?
Yeah, but I mean, the end of their last season, they were like 5-6 for a lot of the year, and then they slowly slid back, and I think injuries really had a factor in that. And you can kind of see why they went and got
Jared
Mitchell
Allen hurt him
as well. Yeah, exactly. And you can see
so
now by getting
I was
Mitchell.
Just saying.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I was about to agree with you. I was just saying, just a matter of them staying healthy. Like, Jared Allen was like such a hurt. Like, even if they added Donovan Mitchell, what happens if they lose Jared Allen again? Like, is that going to hurt him a lot? So they're still losing that presence.
Exactly. And Mitchell doesn't really add anything defensively. They mainly just got him because, Jared Allen, Mobley, they can handle rim protection. And like, when the offense gets bogged down, that's where Mitchell's value is really going to come through, because he'll be a guy that they can kick it to, late in the shot clock or something, have him create. And, he's not afraid to take big shots. So that's always a plus. I was a little surprised to see the Knicks even at 9. I guess ESPN really likes the Brunson addition.
Brunson era.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't as big on it as clearly ESPN is, but
nah, they're believing in Quentin Grimes as much as the Knicks are. That's why that's why Donovan Mitchell isn't there.
Yeah, and as I said when that move wasn't made, Quentin Grimes is going to be under a microscope in New York, because Knicks fans, if the Knicks don't play well this year, they're going to be looking at him and be like, "You cost us Donovan Mitchell." Yeah.
Yep. And if he plays well for Cleveland, like if Cleveland has like a deep playoff run, like Donovan Mitchell's going just crazy, like it's gonna make him upset even more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Cleveland visits Madison Square Garden, that's gonna be primetime matchup, I believe. They're gonna want. I mean, all the networks would love to have that matchup on TV.
Watch Grimes drop like 50 on Donovan Mitchell, like his only big game of the year.
I mean, hey, could happen. Never know. Well, kind of like Jordan said, there's not really a lot of surprises, I guess. Maybe Toronto at 4 could be seen as a little high. But
yeah. Because, I mean, what did Toronto really do this offseason? I mean, they are still going to be running a team of what? VanVleet, Trent, Anunoby, Siakam, and who's running their 5? Is it Boucher?
I mean, they haven't even really had Boucher, he's basically a 4. They only play him at 5 because he's the tallest guy, but
exactly. So I mean, it was. I guess we didn't think they were going to be good last year, and they were still a playoff team. It's just like, man, all these teams are getting better, and you're just like, still the same. But I guess they're just believing in the progression of their players. Like, I think Gary Trent's really good. So, like, I feel like if he it takes a kind of a bigger leap this year and helps Fred VanVleet out, it's possible. It's just like, man, it's hard to think of them as 4th seed in the East. Oof,
Yeah, that
it's a little
seems
tough for me
really
to get
high.
behind.
Yeah. I mean, it does say that they added Otto Porter Jr., but I mean, that doesn't move the
True,
needle too
but
much.
how much did he do? Did he do really a lot for the Warriors last year? Like, I saw him come off the bench there and hits a couple of shots, but it's not like Otto Porter Jr. was going in there and like averages like 23 a game like a Donovan Mitchell, or is really good defensively like a DeJounte Murray or anything like that. So
the Raptors are basically going to be like the 6'8", 6'9" team and see what happens.
Yeah, I think they still got I think they got Ron Harper Jr., but I think he's a rookie, but
yeah,
I mean he might be brought to the team. Like, he can obviously he's a rookie, he'll learn some things, but he got undrafted, so there's another player that they can bring up.
Right. I mean, as we've seen, NBA season is going to be wildly entertaining, and that's a win for us. So,
where's Chicago? Are they low? Are they low?
Yeah, they have the Bulls at 12, and I'm assuming that's probably the Lonzo injury.
Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much. And then DeMar's another year older, and I'm sure like around the NBA, a lot of people aren't expecting DeMar to have a repeat season like last year. You got to figure he's probably going to come down a little bit. So I'm not surprised the Bulls are low, but 12 kind of seems a little low to me. But
it's crazy watching like any player play good for the Bulls, because like no matter what, they're always just comparing their stuff to Michael Jordan. You know how many DeMar DeRozan and Michael Jordan comparisons there were last year? Like so many, just because like anytime DeMar DeRozan did something good, it's like, oh, he's getting close to Michael Jordan's record. And then like he'd be like 300 away.
Well, I mean, that's what Chicago has to hold on to. They missed out on the Derrick Rose era because that was cut short with that knee injury he had. But I mean, that looks so promising for them, and it was just all taken away on one move. But yeah, so we'll definitely talk way more basketball in the coming weeks. But I think now we can switch over to some NFL talk. It was another interesting week. Some interesting winners and losers and all that. So looking back at the past weekend, what are your biggest takeaways from the weekend?
I'm going over the scores just right now, looking at a paper. I mean, any big upsets or anything like that? Not really. I think it was a pretty okay week. I mean, we could start with Thursday. We had the Bengals and the Dolphins. I mean, I said that the Bengals were going to win that game, and it happened. So doing good on my Thursday picks, but the Bengals looked really good that game. I didn't get to watch until the second half because I was busy at work. But when I did get on and started watching the game, they just looked dominant. I mean, Tua went out. Tua's head injury looked a little bit scary. He's not going to be playing this week, I imagine.
Well, after the past 2 weeks,
Teddy Bridgewater's going to be playing. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't have him play after the past 2 weeks and how they handled him. So.
Yeah, I mean, and Bridgewater's not a bad quarterback in and of itself. I think he actually played pretty well until he had that late interception, which is what really hurt them. I feel like the Bengals. I mean, a lot of concerns after those first 2 weeks, and now it seems like they're starting to get on track a little bit, 2-2. Like they're starting to get a little bit of momentum. Their offense is kind of getting on stride and everything again, which is good for them. Other important games. I mean, I'm a Seahawks fan. That was a crazy Seahawks-Lions game. I think it was a total of 1,039 yards. Literally no defense being played in that game at all. That was pretty crazy. The Bills-Ravens game, obviously, that's a pretty important one to two of the top MVP candidates duking it out. Another late game loss.
I know Jordan will want to stick to that game. We'll circle back to that game, but
Okay. I mean, I guess, and then this wasn't really an upset because I believe the Raiders were like 4 or 5 point favorites.
Yeah.
The Broncos and the Raiders played really well that game. I would say the Broncos played a lot better as well too. Like they also had a lot of offensive concerns and different things like that. They played a lot better. Russ played a lot better, but they ended up losing Javonte Williams for the season, tore his ACL actually. So it's going to be the Melvin Gordon show from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I believe they also picked up Latavius Murray off the practice squad as well too. So they're going to be probably running a backfield of Melvin Gordon, Mike Boone, Latavius Murray. So it's going to be interesting to look out for. And then yesterday's game between the Rams and 49ers, Rams not looking too good. They're looking like they got a little bit of the Super Bowl hangover. It looks like it's still lasting a little bit. Jimmy G had a pretty good game. Deebo Samuel looked really good. Jeff Wilson looked really, really good in that backfield, which is a good sign. They needed like a lead rusher that's not going to get injured after 1-2 weeks. So hopefully Jeff Wilson can stay healthy because he looked really good for him that game. And then also on the Rams side, Allen Robinson has not been a factor at all. He was supposed to be like this big pickup.
That is one of the wildest storylines so far in this season.
Yeah,
people Stafford can't find him.
Yeah, people are like, man, trading Robert Woods for a 6th round pick and signing Allen Robinson to that biggest deal was the worst thing the Rams did this offseason. And it's looking like it. They're just not clicking on anything that's not named Cooper Kupp.
Or Skoranek. So, he loves finding Skoranek.
I mean, he just likes the white receivers, I guess.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp and his decoys.
Right. If there's any Broncos fans, or if Nathaniel Hackett was even watching, do not start Melvin Gordon. I have seen enough of him fumbling that he should just be a change of pace back right now. Start Latavius Murray. He's probably better than Melvin Gordon anyway.
Well, I'm pretty sure they already said that Melvin Gordon is they get like a majority of the snaps, and they're already gonna just sprinkle in Mike Boone, which I think is wrong. I feel like which upsets me more because it's like you had Javonte Williams and you're splitting snaps with Melvin Gordon, but now you have Mike, and then Melvin Gordon was like such a big problem, and you're like, oh, we're gonna run him more and not Mike, and the other back we're gonna just run him less now.
That's Hackett again. All right, so Jordan, go ahead. Talk about your Ravens.
Well, before I get into that game, I just want to I think I said this on the Big Three podcast last week or on my show on Friday. But what did I say about Miami? Someone's gonna get fired on that staff.
Yeah, you did say that. Yep.
I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone was saying it, but I kind of like he said, I didn't read the whole article, but the guy said he had made some mistakes, and clearly it was a big one. Like he was wobbling.
Pretty big mistake to make.
Yeah, big mistake, and like I'm pretty sure, some more people are gonna get fired. Eventually, like they're gonna. I'm not sure if they're done their investigation. I'm not sure if they're gonna fire that one dude. But obviously, it was.
The league changed the policy, and the Players Association got together and they changed the policy because of how Miami handled it. So,
yeah, and I heard Tua has to have like an interview or like I'm not sure, like a press conference about like the whole situation. I think so. It's going to be interesting to see like where he comes from in his perspective. So,
sure Tua will probably keep it, professional. He'll just say like, probably like things happen, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he's going to go out there and be like, yeah, that guy, screwed me and whatever. I don't know if Tua's that kind of guy.
Well, also, I think a lot of it has to do is I think Tua was probably like, I just want to go out and play. Like, I feel fine. Let me go. Like, I imagine some of that had to do with it. I imagine Tua was telling him, he's like, I feel good. Like, just let me out there, do whatever. And then like the doctors and the coaches were like, well, you kind of need him out there, so like what can we do? And then that's what probably happened.
It's just like like both games against the Bills and Bengals, it was scary like to see two. It's like obviously there were legal hits on the QB, but it's scary, both scary moments, like how he was wobbling, stumbling, and in the Bills game, and then like Miami, he was in that position on the ground like that, like almost near like 10 minutes. on
his hands.
on the field. His hands were like kind of like so. I mean, yeah, I mean it's crazy, but yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about your Ravens, and then I'll talk about my Patriots after. But yeah, go ahead.
But okay, so technically both teams kind of had because from the Bills' perspective, I mean they should have spanked us because they got Gabe Davis, they have. I know they were kind of skinny on like the cornerbacks because they had Micah Hyde was out.
Yeah, Poyer was kind of hobbled, and Tre'Davious White's still out. Yeah.
Yeah, and for that high-powered offense, with Knox at a tight end, I feel like the Bills, it should have been like a shellacking against the Ravens. But obviously the first play of the game, he got on through a pick, start off the game, and then we ran. It kind of like the Miami Dolphins game. We had a good, we were getting touchdowns. But there was a few controversial calls that I saw. The first one was when Lamar was scrambling and he ran out of bounds, but he extended his arm for the first down. Clearly, like from the replays, the ball kind of crossed that marker, but the refs made a judgment saying, okay, it was fourth and one, but I think Lamar got the first down anyway after that play. The first call I was talking about was I think it was like 3rd and 2. I think Lamar threw the Duvernay and he missed Duvernay, but there was no pass interference call on that play. I feel like maybe it's my bias or conspiracy theorist, but I feel like the refs were kind of like wanted the Bills to come back. Because obviously they had that roughing the passer call that shouldn't have been a roughing the passer call. That was the play that was the drive that actually like had the Bills going down the field. And even the announcers were like, no, that was not a pass interference call because like he didn't hit him in the neck injury, and the refs called the flag when Allen threw his hands up. And there was a play where I'm surprised they didn't call a flag. I think they got him down. I think either Odafe dove on him and hella late, but they didn't call a flag. But Allen threw his hands up again, but they didn't call the flag. But that fourth quarter roughing the passer call, that was a bite to the foot, or a shot to the foot. But now let me get like John Harbaugh. Like it always happens every year on 4th and 1. We go for it, and I get it. Last year, we were playing Big Ben with the Steelers. Obviously, we don't want to with the way that history is with the Steelers and Ravens. It's always a close game, and I get Harbaugh wants to go for it. But if you're going to get the Tom Brady-esque player or Tom Brady himself or Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen, I get the philosophy of going for it and having that big lead. But I know it was a rainy game, but we were at the 2-yard line. Mm-hmm. We had the best kicker in the league. Unless they block the field goal attempt, Tucker's going to make that field goal, put us up 3 points. Because more than likely, we know the Bills would have got a touchdown or a field goal, and it would have been 23-23, win the overtime. But it's kind of like, damn, like, yeah, we should have went for it to get that big lead. But then again, be safe, take the field goal. But man, what about that play when Lamar, he was scrambling and like Von Miller was on his ass and he threw it to Duvernay and it tipped off for Andrews and got to Duvernay like that. You see that play when he ran back and it kind of like got chased. He threw that ball like for 50 yards.
Yeah, well,
but
you brought up that 4th down call.
Yeah, and it's it always happens every year.
Yeah, my question to you is, do you have a bigger problem with them going for the 4th down, or do you have a bigger problem with the play that was called?
I forgot what play was it.
I think it was like a scramble to the right, and Lamar threw it to the back of the end zone to Duvernay, and it got picked off.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah. So, I would say, we had Dobbins. I would have ran it in. Either Lamar had it, or I would have ran it with Lamar. found a gap or do like a fullback dive with Patrick Ricard, get it in there. But I don't know. It's just like I saw the presser of Harbaugh of him explaining the call, and he said that just like
his explanation kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me. But
I mean, he kind of said what I said. Like he wants to get that in that situation. They want to get that big lead against a Josh Allen type player because like Josh Allen's gonna go down the field, march down the field with Diggs, and But I mean, overall, both teams kind of had a bad game because like obviously Bills should have been up by more. I mean, Bills had a horrible first half. Like I said, Allen threw a pick. We held them to like 56 yards in the first quarter of total offense. Mm-hmm. We were killing them on the offense side, but I feel like both sides of the ball, offense and defense for our team, we had to close it out. Barring the refs calls, I mean, it is what it is. But I know we're gonna get to next week's game, but we have the Bengals next week. We gotta focus on them. But I mean, in a sense, our defense played a little bit better against. But in the first half, we played good. The second half, we've had some problems. I know Pierce was chewing out Harbaugh on the sideline because he basically was feeling every Ravens fan's pain, like him yelling at Harbaugh on the sideline because he was pissed, So, in a sense, it is what it is. I mean, maybe we'll see him in the playoffs. We'll see. Maybe, I don't know, but
okay. Well, Dylan, I'm gonna give you some time. Talk about your Seahawks. I mean, they're 2-2. I don't know if you expected them to be there at this point.
We had that.
I'll give you some minutes to talk about your team.
Yeah, we had that interesting game against Denver week 1. Ended up winning that game surprisingly. Then had 2 rough weeks. Had a rough game against the 49ers, and we had a rough game against trying to think.
Hold on, I gotta do that thing again because I don't hear Dylan again.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that.
But I was just saying, we had that interesting week 1 game against the Broncos. Then we had 2 rough weeks, loss against the 49ers, and then a close loss against the Falcons. And we come back and win this game against the Lions. Very interesting. Geno Smith had a really good game. Rashad Penny had a really good rushing game. That's to be said, though. Detroit has one of the worst rushing games. Jamal Williams stepped up really big in replacing DeAndre Swift. Josh Reynolds had a really good game replacing Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was just an offensive game with no defense. Rashad Penny looked good. I mean, again, it's not really saying much because the Lions had one of the worst rushing defenses, but it's kind of a little bit of a hope as a Seahawks fan. He can kind of get running. He was one of the best rushers towards the end of last season. And so going into this season, seeing how slow we started is kind of sad. So I'm hoping that we can kind of keep this pace up. I mean, everyone's showing stats everywhere that Geno Smith is outplaying Russell Wilson by a lot, which is kind of funny. I don't think Geno Smith is our long-term answer at quarterback, but I mean, he's kind of giving Seahawks fans hope. I mean, a lot of Seattle fans just like to win regardless who's playing. So, I mean, I don't think we're really looking as oh man, this guy isn't our future quarterback. It's wow, we're 2-2. So it's going to be really interesting. I mean, we have the Saints this week, 1-3. They're not looking really good. Nothing really said about Kamara, Michael Thomas. So, I mean, potentially we could be 3-2 this week. And then what? I mean, the NFC West is all tied up at 2-2. There's no clear, strong, dominant winner. The Rams don't look good or as good as we thought they were going to be. The 49ers have still been a little bit shaky. They just beat the Rams, but they're still 2-2. The Cardinals are a little bit shaky, but they're on the up and up. So, I mean, if this conference keeps playing out the way it is, Seattle has at least a decent chance. I mean, all the NFC West conference matchups are always going to be tight and strong. They're always going to be competitive every year they are. So, I mean, I'm having faith. It's fun watching them. That was a fun game. I mean, our other games were kind of just not really super fun offensively, and just seeing DK Metcalf get 140 yards receiving and Rashad Penny rushing for crazy, Geno Smith throwing for a lot of yards. It was fun to watch.
Yeah. Oh God, don't mean to interrupt, but Aaron Judge just broke the record, 62.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he got it. He broke the. I just I think Adam Schefter tweeted like 62 for 99, so he stands alone in that record. So no, but yeah, like just like Dylan said, like the Seahawks, I had Metcalf on my fantasy, so he got a lot of points. Didn't he go down with injury though? Like he got carted off.
No, he didn't. He got carted off to take a dump.
Yeah.
You're fired when you said that on air. That's like.
I mean, it's serious. He literally tweeted that clinch walk wouldn't make it.
Apparently Lamar took a dump against the Browns last year, so. I thought it was cramped, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, but I mean, Lamar at least ran off to do it. Like they brought the cart out for Metcalf to take a ride to the back.
Didn't Paul Pierce do the same thing? Like he had a wheelchair, like back in the Celtics and shit. Like,
hey man, hey.
Hey, if you gotta do it,
he heard a pop in his knee. That's the story he's sticking with. All right,
butt. That's what he heard, man.
I don't hear about that.
Yeah, man, but yeah, just I mean, for like the AFC North, I mean, I know losing is bad, but as long as like I think we're still first in the division with 2-2, so because I think Steelers. They won because of Jets, right? They lost, right?
Yeah, they lost.
So as long as the Bengals, and I know the Bengals won this week, but as long as the Browns, I mean, the teams that are important lose, like we're still good. But obviously we want to win games. But how about them Patriots, man? Like Mac Jones is hurt.
I am ready.
Hurt.
I'm ready to talk about them. That's what I'm talking about. Bailey Zappi.
Who the hell is that? Who?
Hey.
That's the Kentucky goat. That's who he is.
He's the next great quarterback. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's just a guy that the Patriots took a flyer on in the 4th round out of Western Kentucky. They kind of went. Yeah, they went through the story during the game because they said with the Patriots' first pick in the 4th round, they wanted Zappi there, but Jack Jones was available, so they jumped at the opportunity to take him. He had that great pick 6 on Aaron Rodgers, which I loved.
So what if he gets hurt?
They're gonna sign quarterback to the practice squad sometime this week. I think they assume Hoyer might be cleared to go this week, but I'm assuming Zappi's gonna start.
Hopefully he should.
Yeah, because he really got comfortable, and when they brought him in, I knew it was a tough spot. He was a 3rd string guy. Your first game's at Lambeau Field, and I think they were basically going in the direction where the drives were starting on the loud end of the stadium. So he handled himself well. I mean, the touchdown pass he threw to Devontae Parker, great touch pass over the middle. I'm just glad to see Devontae Parker really get going in the offense. They took the Packers down to overtime. The defense really frustrated Aaron Rodgers most of the day. So I think there's a formula there for them to win some games until Mac Jones is ready. But I was thoroughly impressed by Zappi for sure.
Yeah, I know this wasn't like a topic for tonight's show, but since we're on the NFL, I was out with a couple of my friends for my boy's birthday. We were watching the Monday night game, and my one friend, he's a Cowboys fan and diehard Cowboys fan, and I asked him. So now Cooper Rush is 4-0 as a backup, right? Dak Prescott, obviously, he's the star quarterback there. He's hurt. So now, if you were a GM or if you were the coach, knowing you have a full healthy Dak coming back soon, do you start Cooper Rush over Dak, or do you start Dak over Cooper Rush? Because obviously, Dak is kind of injury prone.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Go ahead, Dylan. I mean, because my friend, he's a diehard. He's like, start Cooper Rush.
You play Cooper Rush until Dak is fully healthy, and then you let Dak Prescott play because Dak Prescott is a better quarterback. It's simple as that.
But
I mean, nothing against Cooper Rush. He's looked good in this offense because they're being patient in this offense. This is an offense that is good because this is an offense that's patient, but this is not an offense that's going to be able to beat a top contender team. Yeah. This is not an offense that's going to be able to swing blow for blow with the Eagles right now. It's not going to be able to swing blow for blow with some of these better teams in the NFC right now. And that's something that Dak Prescott can give you because Cooper Rush can get you a good drive, Dak Prescott can throw off a 70, 30, 60, 40, 50-yard bomb and help you out way bigger clutcher moments when you need it. He can be that firepower you need. Nothing against Cooper Rush. Again, he's great as a backup, but they're playing patient with him. Like, they're coming out of these games, winning them. Like, they're not dominating, I would say. Like, which I'm just trying to remember the score of their last week's game, if I can find it real fast.
So if y'all were Cooper Rush, like, would y'all feel kind of like mad because I'd be like, okay, I'm 4-0. Like, I'm keeping this team afloat while my starter's out. Like, how would you feel your Cooper Rush? Like, would you be like, oh, like, would you be like a team player? Like, okay, Dak has the keys, but
I would hope that Cooper Rush understands the situation.
Yeah.
You know,
if you're, I mean, I would kind of be like, okay, get healthy, get back. But I mean, I'm hot right now. I'm 4-0. I mean, like, would that kind of like lower his, like, you know, self-esteem, like, and not self-esteem, but his, like, kind of like his.
At this point, he should enjoy the opportunity that he's getting. Best case scenario, in the offseason, some team, you know, overvalues him, throws, you know, I don't know his contract situation, but let's just say he's available out there. If some team comes in, overvalues him, gives him a contract that maybe the Cowboys aren't expecting, he has now, you know, parlayed this opportunity into another opportunity with him maybe having a chance at a starting job. Worst case scenario, the Cowboys realize Cooper Rush, pretty capable backup. They bring him back, and we know Dak has a tendency to get hurt every so often. At least now the Cowboys know if they turn to Cooper Rush, he's able to win them some games. That's the worst case for him. It's just the chance that he's getting to play. He should just take it for what it is and then see what comes from it. That should be the mentality.
I mean, he's having his opportunity now and he's playing well in it. So like, it's just a matter of like, hey, if other teams thought I played well, like they'll contact me. Like, he might not be a starter anywhere else. He's probably not going to get anything like that, but a very good backup. I mean, obviously having a backup quarterback's good. I mean, you couldn't have just thrown anybody in there and they would make the Cowboys 3-1 right now. I mean, the Cowboys are 3-1 right now with a backup quarterback. So like, I mean, it's not anything too crazy. I mean, I feel like the Cowboys could definitely look at it and be like, you helped us. Like, did pull a Jimmy Garoppolo route, kind of not making the highest paid backup, but just give him a little bit of money for a backup. Because like you said, Dak has a little bit of history being injured here and there.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with you. I mean, I agree. Like, Dak, when he gets back, he should be the starter. But I just feel like, you know, stepping into his shoes, like Cooper Rush was like, would you be like, okay?
No, I mean, I get the questions because if Cooper Rush maybe had some doubt in his mind about, you know, what kind of ability he would have if he was given a shot. Now he's seen
because Jerry Jones
he could win some games.
And Jerry Jones is even saying, like, I mean, I guess he has to say as a GM, but like, he's like, oh, like Cooper Rush is, I mean, he's good. He's good. He's, you know, kind of like hyping him up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, he has to do that. The key will be, because Dak has already come out and said that he kind of wants to play this weekend. So let's see how the Cowboys handle that. Will they convince him to maybe take another week off because they're in such a good position with Cooper Rush? Or do they say, oh, you feel ready to go? All right, then come on back. And then they automatically put him in as a starter.
Right.
All right. So, I mean, we kind of touched on all the major stuff from last week.
I guess a segment into the week 4.
Let's look forward to week 5 and get our picks in. So, of course, we have to start Thursday night. We have Colts, Broncos. Colts 1-2-1, and the Broncos are 2-2. So, where'd Dylan go? All right. Well, until he gets back in, I guess we'll start with you, Jordan. What do you think about Thursday night?
I think the Broncos are gonna win. Because Russell Wilson against Matt Ryan. You know, they got I guess the better team, but I know Dylan pointed out that their running back is out. Williams is out, so I mean that's a key hole that they gotta fix. I mean, I don't know. The Colts could shock. I mean, that could be my upset. Actually, I think that is my upset. Colts upset in Denver. Yeah, that's because of the running back situation. Right. I mean, Jonathan Taylor over their backup. Jonathan Taylor is a beast. So, and And that, I mean, and they upset the Chiefs. So I mean, they can upset anyone, So that's actually my upset.
Okay. My only thing with Denver is, like, how many weeks are we gonna say this is the week Russell Wilson could finally put it together?
Exactly.
Because I've been saying that every week and hasn't proven me right yet. So, but I do think eventually, I think Russell Wilson is too good to look this bad for this long. Something's gotta snap in him, and whether it's, I don't know, getting Judy more involved. You got Cortland Sutton still out there. The pieces are there for Russell Wilson to play well. The kind of the moments where I've seen Denver, it seems like when Wilson gets in trouble is when he holds the ball too long. And then that's, when the pressure gets to him and all that. So maybe Nathaniel Hackett could kind of get like a quick passing game for like the first drive or two just to get some rhythm going and then see where it takes them. But Dylan, who you got Thursday night?
I'm taking Denver. You said it better yourself. Russell Wilson can't look this bad for this long. So, I just believe that he hasn't. I feel like he's been looking really good in that Raiders game. I feel like he's kind of picking it up slowly. I feel like this is prime time. Russell Wilson needs to start playing good in these moments. He's kind of had a little bit of a break, we were like, oh, they'll get it together. They'll get it together. It's prime time now. You're playing the Colts, a game you should win, a game that you should win even without Javonte Williams. You should be able to win it with Melvin Gordon. He looked a little bit better last week, more yards, more completions. He was throwing I watched that Raiders game. He was throwing a little more deep balls. He had a couple big ones that he tried to throw to Kendall Hilton, a couple big ones he tried to throw to Cortland Sutton, a couple big ones he threw to Judy. So it's he's kind of getting that feel for the offense a little bit more, like the Russell Wilson we know, scramble in the pocket, throw a deep ball, run the ball. He's getting that feel, which is nice. So I feel like Denver should win it. This is a game that they should win. The Colts haven't looked good. Every time I talk about the Colts, who are their offensive weapons? Again, who's their offensive weapons? That's not Michael Pittman. Jonathan Taylor might not even play this game either. He's still on the rocks. So not 100% sure. I just have to go Broncos just because there's just so many certainties with the Colts right now still.
Okay. Well, I'll break the tie, and I'm taking the Broncos in this one. I got to go with Russell Wilson over Matt Ryan. And like Dylan said, the Colts offense has been basically Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. When they took Pittman away, the Colts struggled. So now if you take Taylor away, I'm assuming they're going to struggle as well. And it's in Denver. We've seen that crowd boo Russell Wilson already. He's got to prove something to them. So I think Thursday night he finally does it.
I think Denver, they're a 3-point favorite, but that's not that much compared to
Yeah, you get 3 points for being the home team. So that lets you know that they basically think it's like a pick 'em game.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so then Sunday night. Oh, Jordan, this is right up your alley. You got Bengals Ravens Sunday night.
Oh, shoot, that's a Sunday night game. Finally, they got a freaking primetime game like this. Well, I know they have some this year, but it's the first one of the season. They're both 2-2, neck and neck in the division. It's gonna be a good. I want to say Lamar because, I'm trying to be biased here, but they are a 3-point favorite. Like you said, the home team gets 3 points automatically. It's just that one. I don't know because Bateman, he's hurt. I think he was in a boot after the game, so that's a big hole. I'm not sure if he's gonna be on. I think he's on the injury list. I'm not sure if he's gonna be ready for Bengals game. But I kind of have. I just Lamar because Lamar's been hasn't been playing bad at all this season, and Barrows had a couple games where he was lost against the Cowboys 2-2. And on paper, this season, Bengals were the top teams in the AFC, and I know they're 2-2 right now, but I don't know. It's an image like with you, Kyle. How you say Russell Wilson? When is the game he's gonna do good? Every time I say Baltimore's at home, they're gonna do good. The crowd's into it, and every time I say that, the Ravens play good in the first half. and played poor in the second half. But I feel like this game, they need this game because it's a division game 1st.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a good game. But I feel like the Ravens are gonna pull it out just because, like, I feel like the defense has obviously heard, fans and the NFL analysts talking about how they should close out games, and like, I mean, they have to, and I think Pierre Paul, he played like more than like majority of the snaps that game, his first game as a Raven. He played pretty good. So like that pressure getting to Burrow, making him force him to throw to Jamar Chase. I feel like Peters and with a semi-healthy Humphrey, I know he had that groin injury he's dealing with. I feel like we're gonna contain Jamar Chase. In a sense, we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be a back and forth game. But I feel the Ravens can, like, they want this win. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I have them over the Bengals, not by much though. I have them maybe 3 point, maybe a touchdown, maybe. So it's gonna be a close one because Burrows,
Okay, Dylan, who you got?
I'm taking the Ravens in this one. I feel like the Ravens kind of been struggling on they've been struggling on defense. Like, they're letting a lot of teams come back and win against them, which is a lot scary. A lot of people are saying stuff like, "Oh, don't pay Lamar, don't pay Lamar, don't pay Lamar." Lamar's playing fine. Like, this isn't his fault. It's the defense's fault.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this win is like a lot of what's going to contribute to a win for them this week is, like, I feel like they're just going to just go into training for this week and just trying to work on getting back on page. Like, the defense, like we saw Marcus Peters flip off John Harbaugh, one of the two. I don't know the name.
John Harbaugh,
yeah, John Harbaugh, and the other one works at Michigan. John Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh.
And I feel like a lot of that's just gonna, like, contribute to it. This team needs a win. The AFC North is like it's kind of it's tough. I mean, the Bengals are 2-2, the Browns are 2-2, the Steelers are I don't think going to be decent, but the Steelers are still there, and then you have like the Ravens who are 2-2. So like nobody really has this one yet, and I believe this game right here is going to be a big factor into it. Like,
this game is really going to separate. Well, obviously it's a division game, but I think we'll see who kind of like separates from that field. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it also helps the winner of this game that the Browns have to face the Chargers. So it's like, oh, if I win this game, I potentially could have like an actual like 1 game lead now in this conference, which is going to be a lot. I feel like the Ravens, I need that. I feel like the Ravens are slightly a better team. They're going to work a lot of getting on page. And I feel like this game is going to be a game where the Ravens come back and win. I feel like they'll be losing it and they'll get a fourth quarter comeback and win. Shock everyone.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like how John Harbaugh, like this throughout the season, like the rest of the games, I'm curious to see how, like when it comes like the 4th and 2, 4th and 1, is he gonna still go for it, or is he gonna learn and just kick a field goal or punt the ball, play smart? I'm curious to see if he hears people talking about that. But I don't know. I mean, if it's like a guaranteed 4th and 1, 4th and inches, yeah, go for it. But if you're like against the Bills game, like in that situation, kick the field goal, take the lead, because obviously we could have got like a pick or a fumble, and we could have just QB nailed it. So I don't know. I'm curious to see in this game how is Harbaugh going to be aggressive and go for it on 4th down again, knowing it's a conference game. He wants to get that W. I mean, if you think about it, Ravens should be 4-0. I mean, if you think about it, the 2 games that they've had big leads, they couldn't hold it together against the Bills and the Miami. But I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying that, like, I'm curious to see how Harbaugh coaches this game, like, because I was kind of pissed that they didn't really incorporate Mark Andrews early in the game against the Bills. Usually against New England, he was going off, in that game against the Pats, and he wasn't really utilized in like the first quarter and second quarter of the Bills game, and that's crazy to say because Mark Andrews is basically our number 1 like receiver, but obviously he had a little charges in the second half. But yeah, I'm curious to see like how Harbaugh approaches this game on like when it comes to like those 4th shorts or like those goal line situations. Are you gonna kick the field goal or go for it? Be aggressive. So it all comes down to like those calls. Because like Dylan said, Lamar is playing a good year. It's just our defense in the offense. We like the offense needs to put up more points, and the defense needs to hold up their end of the bargain. Like you know what I'm saying. Like there's no excuse. We have Mama Humphrey, Marcus Peters. I know he was hurt last year. Coming back, kind of getting accustomed to like the game again. We got Brandon Stevens. He's nice, a young cornerback. Kyle Hampton. I don't think I saw him a little bit. I don't think I saw him against the Bills play as much. Pierre Paul. So I'm curious to see like if they're gonna like really rush Burrows. I'm pretty sure they are, because But yes, it all comes down to like if we can close out games.
All right, so you both went with the Ravens. I understand that.
Go with the Bengals.
I'm going with the Bengals, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If the Ravens do blitz Burrow, I think that'll be to their detriment, because Burrow's actually pretty good against the blitz. It's just that if the Ravens blitz him, they better get to him, because you're looking at Chase, Higgins, Boyd. All he has to do is connect on a slant, and any one of those guys could take it to the house.
Yeah, right.
And my other thing is, I need to see the Ravens put together two good halves of football in the same game.
I agree.
So because that's why I'm going Bengals, and I guess also to play devil's advocate here. We know the Ravens defense has given up big leads in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But couldn't you say that, Lamar could help out, and, when the defense looks like they're staggering, put together one drive, put some points on the board to kind of kill momentum. That's my, like I said, that's me, devil's advocate, coming in with that point. But I agree. Lamar's having a good year. I think he could be having a better year if in that Miami game and Buffalo, especially the Miami game, when Miami was running off 21 straight, if Lamar could have just engineered like one long touchdown drive, that would have killed that game. And the fourth down call, it was a bad call, but maybe when Lamar scrambled, if he could have found a lane to run it, maybe, but he kind of just threw a jump ball in the back of the end zone, which it's fourth down, so it didn't really matter whether he caught it or not, but could have done better with that one.
So let me put you in John Harbaugh's shoes in that game. Like, if you're John Harbaugh, knowing you're playing against Josh Allen, I think I know the answer to this question, but would you kick the field goal, or would you go for it on a fourth and goal? Like, would you putting up would you rather be up by 7 or 3?
So for me, I've always seen Harbaugh and the Ravens as being the conservative type.
Yeah.
So I assumed he was going to kick the field goal. And then listening to him post game where he said like he trusted his defense by going for it. Well, if you trusted your defense, kick the field goal, take the lead, you're going to kick off, you hold them, deep in their own territory. Then trusting your defense would be you trust them to not let Josh Allen
go down,
drive down and get into field goal range. So that's where I was like, Harbaugh's comments didn't really make sense for the call, but I think that's kind of where the NFL is right now. A lot more coaches are willing to go for it on fourth down. And I'm not one of those who thinks like that's crazy or anything. It's just that I would have liked to have seen, if you're going to go for it on 4th and 1 or 2, a better call there. Because with all your RPO action and all that, I feel like that would have been a better way to go than scramble around and fall away pass. But
with that play, that could have been a pass interference call too, but they ain't going to call it. But on that play,
when you throw basically a jump ball like that, you're rarely going to get that kind of call, especially on a fourth down there. Let's go to Monday night. Got Chiefs, Raiders. So I'll start with you, Dylan. Who you got?
This is I want to make this my upset pick, but I didn't because it's also a Monday night pick. I try to stray those away from each other. I try to make my Sunday night pick the upset pick, or Sunday pick an upset pick. I'm going to go the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders better as a team, like all
Mhm.
together. I feel like the Raiders are good. I mean, I feel like they've been good. They just kind of just had a bad stroke of luck recently. I just feel like they're kind of getting it put together, and why not do it to the Chiefs on Pride Time? I feel like this is a big Devontae Adams game. I feel like this is going to be even a bigger Josh Jacobs game. I feel like this is a really good team overall, and I feel like the Chiefs have struggled a little bit. It's going to be close. It's going to be like a shootout of a game, but I feel like the Raiders are going to get it done. I put it as half an upset pick, but also I have another upset pick.
Okay. Jordan, who you got?
I got Chiefs. It's easy. I mean, like, even though I got Adams on my team for fantasy, like Chiefs, Mahomes against Derek Carr. I mean, come on. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, but like, who's home? Is it the Raiders' home,
It's in Kansas
or
City.
is it
It's in
Kansas?
Kansas.
Yeah, that's another.
Missouri.
That's still like what's the over under? I think they're
Chiefs are a touchdown favorite.
touchdown favorite. I mean, that's kind of understandable. Yeah, I mean, I kind of definitely.
Matt
have the Chiefs over
Collins
the Raiders.
time. Matt Collins time.
Yeah. I guess once again I'm gonna break the tie on this one.
Go Raiders, man.
I'm actually going
Oh,
Chiefs on this one.
okay.
I think with it being in Kansas City, that's leaning me towards Kansas City.
Yeah, that Kansas
Um,
City Airheads are gonna be rocking.
Yeah, and also if it does turn into a shootout, I know Mahomes will probably throw a couple of interceptions. He's been prone to do that seemingly lately, but I just think in the end he'll find a way to make at least one more play than Derek Carr.
Since we're on the topic of the Raiders, I just want to say that cornerback, Amik Robinson, the one who picked up, I think it was the interception of that fumble, he was zooming on the field. Like nobody, like, I want to see next gen stats for that. I want to see how fast he was on the field because I was literally like doing dishes in my kitchen and I hear like, of course, like the announcers getting excited and screaming. And I look back at my TV, I see dude with ball just zooming across the field. Like,
Yeah,
it was crazy fast.
It's crazy some of the athletes and that next gen stat stuff. I love that because guys like Tyreek Hill and even a couple of years ago, like they did it for Devin McCourty and he was running like 24 miles an hour. And it's like crazy to think of a human running that fast.
With
Especially
pads on.
corner-
with
Cornerback,
pads
there
on,
was a- There was a cornerback who got the pick six yesterday in the 49ers game. They hit him, and he was running like 22 something miles an hour, and like he ran like a 4.7, I think.
I want to see the next gen stats for Deebo Samuel's touchdown.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
he
fast
was-
on that too.
Because I mean, he could have got tackled, but I think Ramsey had him, and then boom, he just freaking.
Yeah,
just
Well,
had
Jalen
him.
Ramsey had a one-on-one wide open tackle. Like
Right.
if he's
That's
the
what I'm saying,
best
he did that
cornerback
tackle, yeah.
ever, he needs to make that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, he went for that tackle where they like kind of just throw their shoulder at him. And I feel like running backs and wide receivers now have gotten used to that tackle coming at them. So they braced themselves and Debo, kept his balance and kept going. When I don't know if any of you played football or anything like that, but your coach always told you, wrap them up, take them down. But secondary guys, they don't like doing that.
Or team tackle, like get the whole team on them.
Right.
But-
Well, I mean, in that moment with Ramsey, it was just him in
Ramsey,
open field, so he
I mean-
had to make that tackle.
Right.
I played partially as a safety in there. Like, yeah, if you can get him, push him out of bounds, or just like wrap up and
Yeah.
take him down.
But Ramsey just threw a shoulder at him, and Debo just brushed that off and kept going. But yeah, so now we've gone through the primetime matchup, so now it's upset and your lock of the week. Well, Jordan, you already said you're taking
my upset.
the Colts
the
as your
Colts.
upset.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dylan, what's your upset pick?
I'm gonna go the Cardinals over the Eagles. I just want to be the person to get the Eagles upset right. That's it. I just want to be able to get whoever the Eagles lose to. Also, I think the Cardinals are really good. I just feel like they've kind of had like just time to try to get the new offense together. I mean, still no DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to be a lot more helpful when he's in there. But they got Rondale Moore back. They looked a little bit better. I mean, James Conner was running. They were getting all their backs in there. It looked like a good flow of offense. So I feel like the Cardinals, feel like the Cardinals could be the team to do it. Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, former back-to-back OU quarterbacks. Love my OU guys, big Oklahoma fan, so I'm gonna be excited to watch that game. I don't know which jersey I'll wear. I got one of each, so it's gonna be interesting.
Okay. For me, for an upset, there's like two games I'm really looking at. One's actually Dylan, your Seahawks over the Saints. Only thing I'm worried about with that one is the Saints defense is still pretty good. But then one kind of caught my eye, and I know Freddie's not in the chat or anything. I got a weird feeling about the Cowboys over the Rams. Only because I have not been impressed by Stafford at all. And until he figures out that Allen Robinson's pretty good, I mean, that guy put up numbers in Jacksonville and Chicago, and somehow you can't find him. I don't know.
Blake Bortles.
Yeah, Blake Bortles could find him. He had like a 80 catch season with Blake Bortles. He has what, 7
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, and he has like 7 catches through 4 weeks with Matt Stafford, which I just don't get it. I mean, then that means I have to pick the Cowboys, which I don't really like doing. But I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna pick that one, the Cowboys over the Rams. Why not take a risk with it? Okay, so now we'll go to our locks of the week. So we'll start with Dylan. Who's your lock?
I was looking at the list, but I'm just gonna go an easy lock this week. I'm picking a lot of upsets. I'm gonna go Bills over Steelers. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. The Bills are a really good team this year. Steelers are going to be starting Kenny Pickett. He's going to be the starter moving forward. So Mitchell Trubisky, his hype train is basically over, I think. I wouldn't even say Pickett was bad. I mean, he had 3 picks, but those were his only 3 incompletions of the game, were those 3 picks. So, I mean, it's a little interesting that they choose to make the move forward to him on a game like the Bills. I feel like that's kind of dangerous, but I mean, yeah, rookie quarterback going up against probably one of the best teams in the AFC. I'm going to probably pick the best team in the AFC as my lock of the week.
All right, Jordan, who's your lock?
So I was actually looking through the schedule. I had 2 locks. I have the Niners over the Panthers, and then I had the same game as Dylan, the Bills and Steelers, because I mean, Steelers are just booty right now, so. That's a guaranteed win. So I kind of have 2 locks. Kind of have.
You gotta pick one of them. Which one do you think is a bigger lock to you then?
Well, since Dylan took the Bill, I took the. I had my first lock, which was Niners and Panthers.
Okay. All right. So for me, interesting. I'm gonna go the Jags over the Texans. I think the Jaguars bounce back, and the Texans are the Texans. They're still a mess right now. Although Dameon Pierce, he's having a pretty good rookie season at the running back position. He's probably their lone playmaker on offense, but yeah, I just think the Jags get that one. Should be an easy win for them. If the Jags want to be legit players in the AFC South, that's a game they need to win, especially in Jacksonville. So that's my lock. But yeah, so those are our picks. I guess we move on to final thoughts. Anything you guys, I guess, want to bring up? Go ahead.
I just want to say, thank you for supporting us. You know what I'm saying? We had a few comments in the comment section, a couple, like 4 comments, but yeah, man. It's I mean, NBA season about to start. Season play. We NFL's this week. Just keep on supporting the show, the Big 3 podcast on the Sports Empire Network, and we're gonna do some big things, man. Like, for sure.
Dylan, you got anything?
Yeah, just basically we'll agree. Just keep on supporting us. Big week of sports coming up. Pretty exciting week. I mean, NBA is coming back. MLB playoffs. It seems like we're kind of getting into the thick of it. So it's going to be a lot of content coming out from all of us on the channels and everything like that. So definitely support. I mean, I'm excited. This is where it gets good. A lot of stuff comes out, a lot of news. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get back into like a bigger swing of it. I mean, we'll have NBA, MLB's playoffs. We're gonna have NFLs. We'll still have college football going on. So it's good. I'm excited.
Yeah, and also what can't get lost in it. It's a World Cup year too. I am excited to see.
Plus, I'm a big UFC guy, so I watch a lot of that too.
Okay, what's that?
MLB, what's that?
It's called,
that's my
linebacker.
foster dad.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
and
appreciate that, Gregory.
Like I would say, for all the ladies out there, please on Sunday, and throughout the rest of the year, don't hit me up because NBA is coming around. NFL, I'm gonna be busy man watching sports. No, I'm playing. Please hit me up, ladies. But if you have an iPhone and you see my phone on do not disturb, you know why. I'll be tuned to all the games coming up. So, but hey, my phone's open, so hit me up, ladies. Oh man,
and I have to follow that. All right. Yeah, like you guys said, it's gonna be another great weekend. College football Saturday. I mean, I usually watch like Premier League and all that as well over the weekend, so I'll be glued to the TV as well. But also, like you guys also said, make sure hit the like, follow, and subscribe. Sports Empire Network, whether on YouTube or Facebook, because like Dylan said, a lot of good things going on the network, and you'll probably see all of us, popping up, whether it's in the comments on other shows or actually on other shows on the network. So we would definitely love that support. But I guess with that,
yep,
that's another show in the book. So
yep.
Appreciate it again with you guys. I think we have a great group here, and conversation's always great. So this has definitely been fun for me, and hopefully the same for you guys as well.
Very much.
For sure.
All right. Well, Facebook and YouTube, that's it. We out. All right. Have a good one, guys.
Yep. See you guys later.